VR just keeps getting weirder, wilder, and somehow more expensive. We've got Samsung's upcoming headset that might just cost more than your rent. Meta's unlocking new mixed reality magic, and even Metallica is trying to convince you to buy Apple Vision Pro. Oh, and let's not forget that UK government officially acknowledging VR as an economic necessity. So if you thought VR was still niche, think again. There's a lot to unpack, so grab your headset, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. Now, what if I told you that you could experience location-based VR anywhere? That's the goal of Dream Park, a new project by the creators of 2-Bit Circus, which is turning real-world city streets into mixed reality playgrounds. For $10, visitors in Santa Monica, LA can throw on a headset and walk through an actual neighborhood that's been transformed into a multiplayer AR and VR experience. A 2,300 square foot obstacle course inspired by the landscapes from Super Mario games. Dream Park uses MetaQuest 3's headsets and mixed reality to transform those public spaces into digital amusement parks, with lava pools, moving platforms, destructible blocks, collectible coins, and plenty of scurrying enemies. This looks so much fun. This bridges the gap between physical and digital worlds without the need for a giant VR arcade setup. The team has big plans. They're currently building a digital micro Disney world in an empty 4,600 square foot parking lot in San Francisco, and the goal is to one day offer downloadable theme parks that can be set up in seconds anywhere there is space. If this experiment is successful, this could mean a future where VR gaming happens anywhere, not just in your living room. Big Screen just announced Beyond 2, and it's doubling down on what made the first one great. Ultralight, ultra-sharp PC VR, but now with adjustable lenses, a wider field of view, and optional eye tracking on the new model. It still weighs just over 100 grams, making it the lightest headset around, and it's clearly not aimed at casuals. This is for PC VR diehards with base stations and index controllers ready to go. Starting at $10.19, this shipping in April, Beyond 2 is niche, pricey, and unapologetically enthusiast first, but not without flaws. You can watch my full video breakdown of their recent announcement in my previous video. Samsung is finally getting back into VR, but don't expect a budget-friendly Quest competitor. Oh no. Project Muhan, Samsung's rumored XR headset, is reportedly launching in the third quarter of 2025, and it's aiming for the ultra-premium crowd. Leaks suggest that it'll cost around $2,000, and both in this price and functionality, it rivals Apple Vision Pro more than, say, Quest. The headset is expected to use Sony's micro OLED displays and supposedly a higher resolution than Vision Pro, and it will run Google's new Android XR platform. It will also have deep AI integration right out of the box. Samsung reportedly plans to mass-produce only 100,000 units per year. If you compare it to Apple, who initially produced 500,000 Vision Pros, even that was considered a small number. So with Samsung, it confirms that it's not meant for mainstream adoption. Muhan is for the enthusiasts who believe that true VR should cost as much as a small car. Still, if all goes well, Muhan could be the first true AI-driven XR headset. However, during GTC 2025, Google's minimal engagement with Android XR platform raised some concerns among indie VR developers. Unlike competitors like Meta, Google didn't host any public panels or demos for Android XR. Developers worry that this approach may hinder the platform's ability to attract necessary developer interest and consumer demand. I guess we'll see what happens next. Speaking of expensive headsets, Apple is still doing its best to convince us that Apple Vision Pro is worth $3,500. And to do that, they enlisted the one and only Metallica. Yes, Apple partnered with Metallica to create an exclusive free VR concert for Vision Pro users. It was filmed during their Mexico City show and uses Apple's immersive video tech, which means insane resolution, 180-degree video, and spatial audio that makes it feel like you're in the front row. Now, on paper, this is pretty awesome. VR concerts could be a huge market, and if done right, they can be better than staring at a shaky iPhone video on YouTube. But here's the catch. This is exclusive to Vision Pro. This means that very few people will actually experience it, but it's probably a sign that Apple is gearing up for a bigger push into immersive entertainment. For now, though, it's just another reminder that VR is still that awkward stage where the coolest stuff is locked behind ridiculous price tags. Do you think live concerts like these will be enough for people to grab their Vision Pro? Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, over in Questland, Meta is about to make mixed reality a lot more interesting. A new update coming soon will unlock full color pass-through access for developers, which means apps will soon be able to use the Quest camera feed in real time. Let me explain why this is so cool. Because now developers will be able to create create true MR apps that interact with your real environment in more dynamic ways. Think a home design app that lets you place or even replace virtual furniture in your actual room, or an MR game where virtual characters can hide behind your real-world objects, or AR overlays that recognize real-world objects and give you instant information. This is a big step toward making Quest a true mixed reality device rather than just a VR headset with pass-through. If developers take advantage of this properly, we could see some mind-blowing apps later, even this year. Speaking of mixed reality apps, remember Vermilion, that VR painting app that allows you to put an easel inside your room? Well, here's a fun crossover that you didn't know you needed. Vermilion and Polyarc are teaming up to celebrate the anniversaries of their games with a Mouse and Masterpiece bundle. Featuring Vermilion and Moss, the bundle will be 35% off on Quest and Steam, and you will also get 5 free paint-by-numbers templates based on Moss artwork inside Vermilion, because who doesn't want to paint a cute mouse in VR? On top of that, there's a community painting contest that will run until April 7th, where you can submit your Moss-inspired paintings for a chance to win a limited edition Moss posters from Polyarc, or even an MX ink stylus. I love VR game crossovers, and this one definitely looks like a fun one. If you ever wanted to blend VR gaming and fine arts, then here's your chance. Now let's talk about haptics, specifically about this new haptic ring. Instead of wearing gloves or bulky controllers, this small ring sits at the base of your finger and uses electrical nerve stimulation to make it feel like you're actually touching things in VR. You press a virtual button, it feels like a real button. Your brain gets tricked into thinking that there's resistance. Afference showed off demos where people could feel a button press without anything actually touching their fingers. If this tech advances, we could be looking at the future of VR interaction with no gloves, just a few tiny rings making everything feel real. Finally, hand tracking with actual feedback. Sounds like a dream. Of course, this is early stage tech, so don't expect to buy one next week. But if this develops properly, VR might get one step closer to Ready Player One. Speaking of making VR feel more real, Golf Plus is testing a new feature that lets you use an actual putter in VR. The game's developers have been experimenting with Logitech's MX ink stylus, attaching it to a real golf club so the Quest tracking system recognizes it as an in-game object. And there you've got the most realistic golf experience VR has ever had. This is exactly the kind of thing VR needs. What other objects do you think should be tracked in VR? Let me know in the comments. While we're still blending the real and digital worlds, TCL might just be onto something with its Ray Neo X3 Pro smart glasses. These glasses project AR visuals directly onto the lenses, and at the same time they look sleek enough that you might actually consider wearing them outside without feeling like a walking tech demo. Sure, Ray-Ban Metas look better, but those don't have integrated displays like TCL Ray Neo does. The biggest win is the very bright micro LED display, meaning AR visuals remain visible even in bright sunlight, which is something that most AR glasses fail at miserably. Plus, they come with a 12-megapixel camera and AI-powered real-time translation, yes, which could make them a game-changer for traveling abroad. But the biggest downside is a tiny 25-degree field of view, so while it looks cool, don't expect a full augmented reality taking over just yet. But hey, we're getting there. They're expected to launch mid-2025 with an anticipated price around $1,500. Yikes. But still, if companies like TCL pushing forward, we might not be far from actually useful smart glasses that people feel comfortable wearing in public. And just in case you needed proof that VR is becoming a real part of everyday life, here it is. The UK has officially added VR headsets to its inflation basket. That means VR headsets are now considered as essential as bread and gas when calculating inflation. And while that doesn't mean your government is about to hand out free Quest 3S, it does mean that VR is no longer just some niche gaming hobby. It's technically mainstream. It also means that your expensive headset is now part of what economists use to determine how badly inflation is ruining everybody's life. So, yay for progress? Speaking of VR becoming a real part of everybody's life, here's another stat to back it up. Experts predict that in the next 10 years, the global VR market will grow by $339 billion, reaching $382 billion by 2033. To put that in perspective, in 2024, the market was only worth $43 billion, so we're looking at nearly 9 times the growth in a decade. What's driving the massive growth, you ask? No, it's not Half-Life Alyx. It's a mix of immersive entertainment, VR surgery applications, simulation training, and apparently pain management. Yeah, next time someone says VR is just for gamers, remind them that it's also helping people recover from injuries and fight anxiety. But let's be honest, a big chunk of that growth is still going to be people buying headsets just to play Beat Saber and Gorilla Tag. And that's your VR news update. Subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. Which story were you most excited about? Let me know in the comments and I'll catch you in the next one.